yeah, bring it on home.
Well, what a week it has been. Tony, good morning. How are you
doing? I'm good. I'm good.
Well, let's let the poor hapless souls who constitute our listening audience know what they're in for. Tony and I spend a lot of time each week doom scrolling and trying to keep up with the cultural landfill that's filling our home entertainment system. And we thought that every Saturday we could clear the airwaves and download some of what we've read and try to keep ahead of what might be coming down the road. This kind of comes out because, Tony, you and I usually chat during the week about stuff we've seen and read and, oh my God, what's this, and try to make sense of it. So we're kind of including a wider circle of friends, and that's everyone out there who's listening.
Yeah, in the pre-thing days, we used to sit around the backyard and talk about this stuff, and now we just, call each other on the phone. Now, the problem with me calling you and telling you about something is that you've already read it, so it's very difficult to get the jump on you. But there are some things.
No, it's symptomatic of me having way too much time on our hands. So I thought we'd launch right into it. And we're going to play some music, and this is the first time we've done this. Catherine Bell is helping us out here, and she's going to join in later to talk about something, an incredible fundraising event and a monstrous downtown traffic jam that are going to be happening simultaneously at 12:30. So either you can get with a program or avoid the downtown and Westcliff area. So
in other words, just another Saturday in Santa Cruz.
Just another Saturday in Santa Cruz. So why don't we talk? We all have a different topic A. We're going to cover a lot of ground here, but something that's been on my mind big time, and I think everyone's thinking about, is what I call vaccine anxiety, which is everyone knows the vaccines are out there and everyone's going crazy trying to get their shot or find out how come they haven't been notified about getting a shot, or finding out where they go and do they need it. And it's a thing, and it's a thing out there. It's out there in the culture now, and it's created a new psychological climate, if you will. Don't you think, Tony?
Yeah, I think what people need to realize is that they have to look out for themselves. Don't wait for your doctor to call you. Don't wait for some number to come up. You really have to be on it. You've got to be checking online, paying attention to the news feeds, and be ready to jump when you get the word. A couple of days ago, suddenly, I don't know how many, 600 shots opened up through Sutter, and it went out on a not Eventbrite, but one of those event sign-up sites with no publicity except word of mouth. And it's a good thing, because if there had been advanced publicity, the whole internet would have crashed, right? Instead, the word spread so quickly that it filled up, I think within hours, all through Northern California. Every Sutter site filled up for all the available shots for the next couple of weeks at least.
Well, theme of this, this whatever it is going to be what I call anti-social media. We're all obsessed with tweeting and Facebook and what we're doing. And in my personal Facebook feed, I've had Facebook friends who are what I call shot porn. Here I am getting my shot. Look how cool I am. I'm getting a shot. And I understand they're happy and they want to share the news with their friends, but I have to say, maybe I have a curdled soul, and you don't have to jump in on that, Tony. But it really rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, well, yeah, good for you, but I'm still waiting. Keep it to yourself. And that's a bigger beef I have with Facebook. It's the look how fabulous I am. Here's the meal I just enjoyed, or here's my incredible family. Just my 2 cents of worthless advice, which no one will follow, is, if you have good fortune in your life, you don't necessarily have to share everything with your friends. And certainly, if you're lucky enough to get a shot because you happen to be hitting the right button on the web at the time or have a super secret way, best to help give good advice that people can use. So, it is what it is. Am I being too small-minded, Tony?
Oh, of course you are. And I agree with you on now three different things. 1, yes, small-minded. 2, yes, curdled soul. But 3, yes, there is such a thing as vaccine envy. It's real, and it doesn't create any positive feelings in anyone. It does curdle the soul to realize that what did that person do to be able to get the vaccine and I can't? It's a human reaction. It is selfish, But I think it's an understandable reaction when so many people are trying. Well, how did that person get in? Well, because they saw a website. 5 minutes after you went to bed, a website appeared. You had just checked, and luck of the draw.
A wider issue too with this is going to be, let's look forward. Forward into the future, is there's brewing resentment now. We're used to. Or, we want a book, we order it on Amazon. We shouldn't. We should go down to Bookshop Santa Cruz with the newly unionized Bookshop Santa Cruz and purchase it. But if we want to celebrate the power culture, we can get the book tomorrow. We're used to instant gratification. Obscure movie, I can get it on Netflix. Now there's a, quote, we've been led to believe, and I believe it's true, a life and death vaccine or something we really want, and we can't get it. We're entitled Americans, by God, which leads me to I was driving through Moss Landing, of all places, the hot spot of the Central Coast, and there was a kiosk up, a recall Gavin Newsom at Moss Landing, like by PCH. So clearly, our governor now is going to be is the target now for the resentment of everyone saying it's your fault, because that's another thing Americans unfortunately are very good at, is trying to find someone to blame. And
I know. It's the guy that just left the White House a couple of weeks ago. That's the guy. That's the one you blame, because the distribution was essentially non-existent. There was no plan when Biden took over. It's been a couple of weeks. He's moving product now, but. This thing is not going to be over for years yet. We're not going to be able to travel internationally for several years, because Canada's getting 5 times the number of vaccine shots as they have actual population.
No, that's actually I watched that closely. Canada is interestingly not as well off as you might think. They're surprisingly, considering their population is 1/10 of the United States, they're actually not. It's tough. You're up in Vancouver, a place I hold near and dear. You can't get shots up there. It's just as tough up there to get shots as down here. And speaking of Gavin Newsom, I think the only thing he should be recalled for is being married to Kimberly Guilfoyle. That we could talk about that.
Was he actually married to her?
I think they were married and divorced. Yeah, if I'm wrong, so yeah, that to me is that's even worse.
Everything.
Yeah, that does change everything. But speaking of the vaccines, that's the next level, is going to be the passports. The certificate that says I've been vaccinated, or a digital footprint. And the thing that scares me is Crazy Town, QAnon, but just call it Crazy Town. That's shorthand. They're going to go even crazier when they're not allowed to get on an airliner, because American Airlines says, no, if you haven't been vaccinated, we're, as a private company, you can't fly on our airline. And in Crazy Town, the vaccines are all part of the plan-demic, and Bill Gates has engineered microchips, working with Fauci, his evil henchman, the Igor to Bill Gates, to track us. So when the private corporations then say, okay, you can't do X, you can't go to our business, our place of business, they're going to go crazy. Well, I say they're going to go crazier. It'll accentuate the crazy to some degree. So that's some fun news that we have to look forward to.
Yeah. That it'll be this new real world shift in the game that's being played, and it is a game. It's being played like an augmented reality game, with the people kind of seeing clues that they believe exist, but in fact are just random and coincidental. I don't think there's anything the society can do to stop this crazy QAnon stuff from just compounding. It's all, the crazier it gets, the more the more people embrace it.
Firing Lou Dobbs, there's a step. Dominion's lawsuit. We'll talk about that later on in the show, but I think we can contain the crazy. And again, their worst nightmare is government re-education camps forming to deprogram the crazy. Look, these are way too heady issues for a Saturday morning, but
a beautiful Saturday morning.
A beautiful Saturday morning. I'm going to play a quick little musical interlude, and we're going to come back. And Catherine Bell's going to tell us about the fundraising event of a lifetime and a serious traffic situation downtown, one and the same. So, Catherine's already pointed out in that brief interlude that I managed to get how many things wrong?
That's all right. Here we are. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to correct you, right?
Oh, so what's going on at 12:30, and where is it happening?
Yeah, so we were talking about healthcare, and with the big, huge crisis going on in this country and around the world, a pandemic, that more Americans are out of healthcare than ever before. Like I heard, I think 50 million Americans lost healthcare because they're losing their jobs during the pandemic, and this is the time when we really
pandemic. Please come on.
Okay, let's get it right. All right, yeah.
Get it right.
But we have to, say that doesn't make sense, and that in this country, the way healthcare is tied to jobs is highly unusual. There's no other developed country that actually has this system. This was actually set up during World War II in a kind of a strange way, which I've learned a little bit about. But most countries have some kind of universal health care where all their citizens are covered. And we do not have that in this country. So we would like to get started, and the Nurses Union in California has been extremely active in getting health care for everybody for decades now, because they're the ones who see the people who come into the hospital who can't afford to get coverage, and they can't go to a regular doctor to get diabetes medication, so they collapse on the street and end up in the emergency room for something that could have been a really simple fix if they had a health care provider. So the nurses are backing a new bill for California, which is called CalCare, and it's going to be a universal health care for everybody in California, which will include all health care needs. There'll be no more premiums, no more copays, no more deductibles, and that there will be a tax consequences, but the tax consequence will be considerably less than what you're already now paying for health care. You may not see the cost because a lot of the health care that people get is through their employers, and so the cost goes through the employers, but that will be compensated, and so it seems like overall cost is going to go down. So a
leading question here: what can I do in the next, say, 2 hours to materially assist the establishment of such a utopian scheme?
Cut to the chase. So, in fact, you can chase our vehicles. We are meeting at 12:30 at the county building. There's going to be a car caravan instead of a march. We used to do marches when they had another of these a couple of years ago, another of these bills that got really far. But we're going to do a car caravan starting at the county healthcare building at 12:30. And I believe you can just show up and follow everybody. And we're going to be following a route out along West Cliff Drive and back through downtown Santa Cruz. So there's the traffic jam that Eric's been talking about. And we're going to have our cars decorated to raise awareness for this CalCare plan to get health care for all Californians. And if we can start in this state, then we can model it for the rest of the country. That's how Canada got their start. Saskatchewan went to full health care, and the rest of the country saw how well it worked, and so the whole country now has a nationalized health care. So,
and it all starts in the People's Republic of Santa Cruz.
Absolutely. Right, and it's all over the state. There's going to be rallies all over the state today. So this is information about CalCare, and so if you see us, honk or wave, and let us know. No.
Let me honk here and jump. And I just want to make sure now, when we talk about single payer health care,
Yep.
is that exactly the same thing as what people say is Medicare for all? Is there any difference?
I could not tell you. I don't know. A couple years ago, I was involved in another bill that was going through California, which was stalled on the Senate floor, and I could have told you more at that point. But it's been several years, and my aging brain can't retain that information.
Yeah.
So they're very closely related. So I can't tell you if it's technically single payer or Medicare for all. There are slight differences between these different plans.
Now let's go to Traffic Central right now for a report, and here's me. Well, it looks like traffic is backed up heading over to Costco because it's a pretty well stop and go coming off of the Highway 1 extension right by Ocean Street. But downtown looks pretty good right now. There's no major traffic situation happening around the government building yet.
Well, we'll be driving probably around 1. We're meeting at 12:30. Start driving around 1. So watch your GPS thing. I think the traffic will be building.
Now let's talk about, as we do a clumsy segue into traffic, this is something I've been meaning to ask you, Tony. The rail line, there was a big vote about something that honestly I have not been attentive to. Get in a short form, rail line, what is it? What was the vote? Why should I care? Et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I'll tell you why you should care. 2 words: Los Angeles. You know, L.A. tore up their tracks decades ago under pressure from businesses and tire companies and
with or the red car.
Indeed, and has now lived to regret it, of course, with perpetual 24/7 traffic jams, and they're spending billions to put in a rail system. This is it in essence. We have the tracks. The tracks exist. It's a railway right of way. The Santa Cruz line, is still there. Up until a few years ago, there was freight service running on it. So the idea is, well, we've got that hardware. We've got that that steel on the ground. Can we use this as part of a broader mass transit plan for Santa Cruz instead of just expanding freeways and throwing more cars on freeways? Let's have some idea of what we're going to do. So Santa Cruz ballot initiative a couple of years ago, Measure D, allowed for highway improvement, mass transit, a study about use of the rail tracks, and it's been studied now for several years. And just a couple of days ago, one of our local agencies had a selection of, what's the alternative? Give us a list of things we can do, and the preferred alternative is, yes, keep the tracks in place. Also have a trail next to the tracks for pedestrians and for bicycles, mixed use, but do not tear up the railway tracks. Now it's going to be 30 years before there's passenger service, maybe 25 years if we're lucky, but it could happen. I mean, I had an office in
the tracks are protected now. Then is that what went down Thursday?
Yeah, right. The tracks are protected, and there are people who live near the tracks who would be bothered, they say, by an electric train running on those tracks, and they don't want it. But if we give up that right of way, there'll be no way that the county or the city could acquire property to put a mass transit line in if we wanted to do it in the future. So preserving the right of way, keeping the tracks in place, going ahead with the plan to look at a future that includes passenger light rail of some sort, along with a trail, along with a pedestrian path, is what the county seems to be heading towards right now. There's still opposition to the train and to having the tracks, but it looks like it's moving in that direction. And this is go on.
No, good.
Yeah, I was going to say that I had an office in San Jose when I was working as an environmental reporter, and years and years ago, one of the supervisors over there, Rod Diridon, came up with the idea for light rail in San Jose. He was laughed at. Oh, it's Rod's folly. It's the choo-choo, and everybody was kind of kicking it around, and it kind of slowly wound its way through the government, and then they started building some things. Well, one day I walked out of my office on First Street in San Jose, and I hear ding ding, and this train goes by. I thought, oh my God, it's real! It actually did it.
I just want to say one word, Tony. You ready? You sitting down here? One word here.
Of course.
Monorail.
Yes, magnetic monorails.
Oh, wait a minute. What do I hear coming?
Now this here's a story about the Rock Island Line. The Rock Island Line, she runs down into New Orleans. And just outside of New Orleans, there's a big toll gate. All the trains that go through the toll gate, well, they gotta pay the man some money. But of course, if you got certain things on board, you're okay, you don't have to pay the man nothing. And just now we see a train, she coming down the line. And when she come up near the toll gate, the driver, he shout down to the man. He say, I got pigs, I got horses, I got cows, I got sheep, I got all livestock, I got all livestock, I got all livestock. And the man say, well, you all right, boy, just get on through, you don't have to pay me nothing. And the train go through. And when you go through the toll gate, the train got up a little bit of steam and a little bit of speed. And when the driver think he's safely on the other side, he shout back down the line to the man. He said, I fooled you, I fooled you. I got pig iron, I got pig iron, I got old pig iron. Now I'll tell you where I'm going, boy. Down the Rock Island Line, she's a mighty good road. The Rock Island Line. line is a road to ride, yes, the Rock Island line is a mighty good road. And if you own to ride it, got to ride it like you find to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island line. I may be right, may be wrong, you know you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. Down the Rock Island line, she's a mighty good road. The Rock Island line is a road to ride, yes, the Rock Island line is a mighty good road. And if you own to ride it, got to ride it like you find to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island line. Hallelujah, I'm safe from sin. The good Lord's coming for to see me again. Down the Rock Island line, she's a mighty good road. The Rock Island line is a road to ride, yeah, the Rock Island line is a mighty good road. And if you won't ride it, gotta ride it like you find to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island line. A, B, C, W, X, Y, Z. Cat's on the cover, but he don't see me. Down the Rock Island line, she's a mighty good road. The Rock Island line is a road to ride, yes, the Rock Island line is a mighty good road. And if you won't ride it, gotta ride it like you find to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island line. Rock Island line, she's a mighty good road. Rock Island line, your road to ride, yes, the Rock Island line is a mighty good road. And if you won't ride it, gotta ride it like you find to get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island line.
The song that launched, among other things, the Beatles. Jimmy Page's first ever TV appearance was playing in a skiffle band. That was, of course, Rock Island Line. Tony, I bet you haven't heard that in a while.
I haven't heard that in quite a while. Yeah, how did you have that ready to go?
I don't know. It's Uri Geller must be on the premises. So, what else is going on in? We're going to move to glide through national stuff, but locally, you are radio's beloved Tony Russomanno. What other stuff is of interest that we should know about going on locally?
Well, I think there was some must-see TV over the past week. Some really high drama and some very strange goings on with one of the school districts here in the county, the Pajaro Valley Unified School District.
Hold on. When I think riveting entertainment, the Pajaro Valley District hearings live, that I'm getting chills here.
Over 2 days, yes. It was 12 hours over 2 days on YouTube live, and there were about 1,200, 1,300 people watching at any one time. You could see the viewership count, and it was like 4 or 5 people sitting around on a Zoom call, having an argument about firing the superintendent for reasons that could not be discussed because it was personnel, and there were a lot of hot parents that were just upset about this. And they were venting for hours and hours and hours, and it ended up with the entire school board trustees voting to rescind the firing, put the superintendent back as superintendent, unanimous vote in that regard, and to replace the existing president of the Pajaro Valley trustees and the vice president, and that also was a unanimous vote, including by the former president and vice president themselves, and that it went on for hours and hours and hours. And I thought, well, I just kind of tune in and catch some of the arguments and try to figure out what the heck happened with the superintendent. That was never explained. It still hasn't been explained, but it was just captivating to watch this. Now, the Pajaro Valley District is important. It's the largest school district in the county. It also is the most diverse. There are students from Aptos. There are students from families in Watsonville. It's a big deal, and to have this happen without any warning whatsoever for the superintendent, nothing publicly revealed in her past that has any problem whatsoever. Praise from every other district superintendent in the county. And it was just one of those mysteries that maybe 5 or 6 people know what's going on, the trustees in that district, and they're not talking.
Whoa. Okay. Well, there we go. Well, let's move. Why don't we move from dysfunction in our backyard to let's call it. I don't know. Why don't we call it Republicans on Parade?
Oh boy! Look at them marching. Here they come. There they are in the street. They're coming for you. Oh, boy.
So what I've been looking at is don't mean to be sexist here, but I call it the coveted Queen of the Yahoos pageant that's going on in the House right now between what's her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene. And you notice how, just like all good murderers and serial killers, there's always a middle name. It's not like Lee Harvey Oswald, not that I'm drawing a connection here, but they do both love guns. And Lorene Boebert, who are both very active in building their brand now. And here's a question I have for you again as a newsman. Have you ever seen a picture of the two of them together? Ever, once?
Never. It's Clark Kent and Superman. That's the story right there.
And that's the thing that I find interesting is this is show business at this point. This isn't know anything business. This is show business, where it's clear to me that they're building a brand, and it's working. The press, as always, just the same press that Jeff Zucker, who's going to be with us for only one more year, who had broadcast for hours empty podiums where Trump was about to speak, are going for the okey doke immediately with certainly with Greene, who is now totally got her brand built. She's broadcasting at the highest level. She's she's filling in the vacuum that our former president has left.
And she's now a three-letter person. She's not Marjorie Taylor Greene anymore. She's MTG, like JFK and LBJ. It's now MTG. I feel so sorry for Lauren Boebert. There she was from the lovely town of Rifle. That actually is the name of the town she's from, Rifle. And she was running a nice little coffee shop. What was it called? What's the name of the restaurant she had? Shooters? Something like Shotgun or something like that.
Let's just call it the Second Amendment Cafe.
Yeah, all of them from 1 to 2. And she was plucked out of that comfy little cocoon and tried to make a name for herself. She carries a Glock to Congress. She has run through metal detectors. She just made all this noise, and then comes MTG
you're right.
with Jewish space lasers. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that's game right there.
Well, it's the show business angle, and we're doing our best to perpetuate it right now. I mean, here we are talking over it because we should have better things to talk about, but at least you can focus your attention on what's really going on and the enabling media that's supporting it. And it's a tough one. I'm just focusing on the Hollywood aspect of it. And again, I'm focusing on the rivalry between the two of them. And if I was looking to create discord, it would try to pit the two of them against each other. I don't know if the mayor of Crazy Town title is open, but maybe there's we can have a vote off here.
I like your sexist description earlier. Queen. There can only be one queen. There can only be one queen of a household. There can only be one queen in Congress, and they're going at it. Now there's lots of male competition too. I mean, there's a bunch of crazy men running around. But as far as making a big show of themselves, these two are at it.
Well, there's Matt Gertz, again, he looks like something an effect in a Ray Harryhausen movie, one of those audio animatronic. He has the David Lynch hair going on. I mean, just the actual physical appearance of the guy.
Oh, and he's just so willing to give everything he has for Trump. He's willing to give up his House seat to be part of the Trump defense team at the impeachment trial coming up. He said he's willing to give up his House seat. He's also willing to give up literally his house just to defend Trump.
The sad thing, though, is the Democrats. We have one absolute genius at publicity and social media and command of the vocabulary, and that's of course
Bernie.
Our syllables. No, not Bernie. AOC. She's got it going on.
Oh yeah, all right.
And her that just from a presentational Hollywood standpoint is absolutely real and deeply felt and important as it was, just the presentation of her Instagram post. And the sad thing is we in the Senate had another guy who absolutely understood how it worked with Al Franken until he conveniently shot himself in the foot and resigned. That was someone who was at that level of Republican showmanship which sadly is speaking. I know you're aligned with the Democrats, so we should do a disclaimer, Tony. You're an official card-carrying, not just a Democrat, but a Democrat Party organizer. You're one of those community organizers that are targeting innocent people to pervert them to the socialist Democratic Party.
Yes. Well, not socialist. I am a Marxist-Leninist, but of the Groucho and John variety.
Oh, there you go. But, that's my frustration with Democrats is because they are more focused sometimes on policy and actually being competent, they forget the show business aspects of things.
Oh, yeah. Short declarative sentences. Please, folks. When I listen to the House leader and when I listen to the Senate now majority leader, I just want to shout, throw a period in there somewhere. Just, say something and be quiet for a few seconds.
Well, let's this request. This will go out to MTG and Lorene Boebert and our whole situation. This is it seems like an emotionally appropriate song. And one thing I think you would agree, Tony, you can never ever go wrong with Tom Jones.
Oh, we heard church people say they are in the holy way. There are strange things happening every day. On the last grand judgment day, when they drive him all away, there are strange things happening every day. Every day. Every day. Every day. Every day. There are strange things happening every day. Every day, every day, every day, yeah. There are strange things happening every day. If you want to feel the crime, you must learn to quit your lie. There are strange things happening every day. If you hear right through the line, you can live right all the time. There are strange things happening every day. Every day. Every day. Every day. Every day. There are strange things happening every day. Every day. Every day. Every day. Yeah. There are strange things happening every day. Yeah. Jesus is the holy light, turning darkness into light. There are strange things happening every day. He gave the blind man sight when he pressed him with all his might. There are strange things happening every day. Every day. Every day. Every day. Every day. There are strange things happening every day. Every day. Every day. Every day. Yeah. There are strange things happening every day.
TJ covers a song by Sister Rosetta Tharpe, Strange Things Happening Every Day, which I think is pretty much an understatement for... Wasn't this year supposed to be a easier year than 2020, a little less on the crazy?
We're going to taper off a little bit. We can't go cold turkey.
All right. Well, as I say, this is 2020 with a fake mustache. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't. It doesn't quite It's cleverly disguised as a. I remember when we were doing our election. It was the Happy Dance Day. It was when there was literally celebration in the streets when November 14th or something when they officially said that Biden had won. I remember talking with you and Rachel Goodman, and I kept thinking, I think I used the analogy, I know, but I feel like the end of Carrie, where all of a sudden the hand's going to come out of the grave and grab us. I feel we're not out of this yet. And in my wildest paranoia, which I tend to do, and I'm more than happy to share with everyone listening, I never expected the Capitol riots.
Well, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition, but I think you hit it right, that this feeling of jubilation and elation and relief. Hey, cue that guy up again. We're going to use it. I'm going to say that this feeling of relief, and relief was the word I heard most often on that day, was replaced by almost this kind of not really impending doom, or depression, but the relief that happiness didn't last more than a day. And you were right, as it turned out. And who could have possibly expected it? Why don't they just talk about that thing that's happening there in the background now? You want me to do that?
No, but I want to keep going about that thing can wait. That's a big surprise. We want to end on a high note, and there's nothing higher than going to Easter Island, home of giant heads. And I'll leave you with that tantalizing thing. So what else do we got? I'm looking through, a couple of notable passings, two great actors, Christopher Plummer and Hal Holbrook. Hal Holbrook, any guy who can say the role of Mark Twain as he did so long, and also now we know, Deep Throat, Hiding in the Garage, and All the President's Men. That would have been Hal Holbrook. And Christopher Plummer, who did just... Tony, I know you as a big Star Trek fan. He was one of the great Christopher Plummer roles as the star of Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, playing a bad guy, if I remember. There was no scene. The Ricardo Montalban No Scenery Left Unchewed award goes to Plummer for that role.
Well, indeed, and it was using the odd-even rule of Star Trek. It was one of the better Star Treks, and I believe he played a Klingon ambassador.
Ah, there you go, and you speak fluent Klingon, if I'm or at least enough to fully establish your utter and complete nerd credentials, correct?
Nuknek. I actually was Klingon for a day. I got as part of my storied journalism career. They dressed me up as a Klingon for one day at Great America when they still had the Paramount franchise, and I walked around hollering at tourists. It was great fun.
I'm sure you enjoyed the hollering at tourist thing. Yes, you're distinguished.
Oh, I'm very, very good at hollering.
You're distinguished, and I think a 40-year career, a distinguished career in media, and here you are on this show today. It's,
I know.
How the mighty have fallen. It's like,
two Peabodys, multiple Emmys, the Armstrong Award.
Well, the great thing about KSQD and today is it's all uphill from here. At 12 o'clock, Creative Bandwidth is coming in, and yes, you'll have to endure me a little longer, but it's going to be a special on Hollywood.
Fortunately, I'm bailing at that point.
Yes, you're out of here. But Hollywood, and a guest, Arlie Proctor, Hollywood historian, is going to help me fill in the story of some of the great Hollywood songs inspired or soundtracks from movies, and also talk about this amazing new book about a unsung but amazingly connected Hollywood star that he's written. And then at 2 o'clock, Rhinestone Ray is going to come in with Runs on Gasoline. 4 o'clock, Papa Sam, Crescent City Shuffle. And 6 to 10, great soul music with Charlie Lang et al. And 10 to 12, reggae. So all the annoying talk we're getting out of our system right now. But it's good, great music on this fine radio station. So let's go now and talk about what it kept trying to come out here. There's an event going on, Tony, that I know you're eager to share with us, and what is going on around the world. Hint.
Around the world right now. Well, I was thinking when we're going over the list of things to talk about this week. There's a lot of doom scrolling, doom and gloom stuff. But I thought there is room for something good. Like what is the best thing in the world this week? And it's going on still right now. It's ending today. It is something called Tapati Rapa Nui. Rapa Nui is Easter Island, and Tapati literally means week. So this is a cultural festival that's going on the island. And it's been going on for about 30 years. In past years, it's been a big tourist draw. There have been thousands of tourists, getting to Easter Island for this what then was a 2-week festival. And it was just crazy. Everybody was taking part. It wasn't a spectator sport. You could go early and you could be part of the singing, dancing, arts, crafts, weird, strange, bizarre feats of daring do, like riding a tree trunk down the side of a volcano with absolutely no control, naked. And that's
come on. You do that all. That's not that unusual.
But not for a couple of years at least. This goes on every year. Well, this year because of the thing, they don't have tourists, so it became strictly a local operation. And it didn't stop them one bit. I was watching some of the live broadcasts from Easter Island.
This is the important thing now. Can people see this?
Yeah.
Just like vaccine envy, we can't talk about things that people can't enjoy. So
I gotcha. I'm covered with this one, and I'm not going to give you a bunch of URL stuff that just basically Tapati Rapa Nui. Tapati, Rapa, R-A-P-A, Nui, N-U-I. And just go on YouTube and do a search for Tapati Rapa Nui, and then look for something that has this year on it, 2021, because there are a bunch of previous years there also. Or you can go on Facebook, because they were also streaming to Facebook Live, and I think they are still doing live streams. Same thing, Tapati Rapa Nui on Facebook. And man, I've been there a couple of times, and this year, despite the fact there were no tourists, some of the productions were 2 or 3 times bigger than I had seen in previous years. And by bigger, I mean maybe 300, 400 performers on stage at once, all dancing and local music and this strange sounding Tahitian ukulele, Tahitian guitar, the really, really high pitched sound that leads off a lot of the songs. And there is one song in particular that is essentially the Easter Island dance anthem. It's the most important dance song on Easter Island. It's not an Easter Island song. It was imported by somebody from Samoa in the 1940s, and it is a completely meaningless song. In other words, the lyrics make absolutely no sense. In fact, some of the letters in some of the words in the song do not even exist in the Rapa Nui language, and the song is called "Sao Sao." man, Sao Sao from Easter Island. Boy, there he goes. I think once was enough on that. Fade that guy out there. Very nice. That's accompanied by a certain type of dance also, where the women dance. Oddly, despite that energetic, high intensity, strumming that's going on with the Tahitian guitar, Tahitian ukulele, the dance is pretty slow and just kind of slow, rhythmic body motions from the women, and then the men will join in, and more of a traditional, almost a Western dance, just a man woman dancing together. So it's a combination of Polynesian, Hawaiian, Samoan, and this very, very unique, very, very wonderful island paradise with thousands of people going nuts for a week. It is like, it is truly island-wide cultural mass hysteria. Everybody takes part. It's like imagine Burning Man if everyone in the United States attended.
And again, let people know how they can see this, because you're a well-heeled world adventure tourist, and I'm sure the reason this is the best festival ever is because you weren't there. So how can people check it out on YouTube again?
Yeah, it's just look for Tapati Rapa Nui on YouTube, and you'll see a bunch of videos. Look for any of the videos for this year, for 2021, or you can on Facebook. They've been doing a lot of live streaming on the Rapa Nui municipal page. So just Google Tapati Rapa Nui, or not Google, but search Tapati Rapa Nui on Facebook, and you'll get right to it. And they've also archived the videos that have been broadcast over the past week. The big thing is if you see something that's called the adult competition or adult singing, dancing competition, that's the one with hundreds of people on stage at once. The planning for this, the planning for next year's festival will start probably tomorrow, at the end of this year's festival. It is truly a cultural significant event for the Polynesian world. Man, if you ever get a chance to get out there, it's difficult, obviously. It is the most isolated, inhabited place on the planet. But make it part of your bucket list. And,
all right. Well, this song goes out to Rapa Nuians, who I think they would agree that sometimes you just want to let the mystery be.
Everybody is wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody is worried about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, and so it's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be. Some say once gone, you're gone forever, and some say you're gonna come back. Some say you rest in the arms of the Savior if in sinful ways you lack. Some say that they're coming back in a garden, bunch of carrots and little sweet peas. I think I'll just let the mystery be. Everybody is wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody is worried about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. It's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be. always worry about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, and so it's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be. I think I'll just let the mystery be.
Iris DeMent, and if you fans saw, they showed The Leftovers. That song was picked up and used as the theme song. It's a great song by Iris DeMent. So, Tony, what do we have to look forward to next week? We'll do a preview of next week's show right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, is it impeachment trial? Is that hitting next week?
First of all, you're assuming that they're not going to do a Lou Dobbs on us. We have to get the verdict there from the big shots on Mahogany Row. But assuming that they do not change the locks between now and then, yes, obviously the impeachment will be for all of you folks who are shut-ins, and that includes all of us at this point. What could be better than settling back and just watching these guys and women, but mainly guys drone on about crimes of the past 5 years. I think will be cathartic.
Well, again, it better not be droning, because again, if this is show business in theater, unfortunately, there's a point where we almost have to get down on all fours and see things from the point of view of the Republicans. And if we're going to have effective hearings or really prosecute this, there's absolutely no chance the vote's going to go against Trump. Yeah. So what's the point of the whole thing if not basically a show trial in the sense of old show trials? And this is a benign show trial, right? It won't be ended with people being dragged out and shot. That's how the Republicans would do it. But I see this as a show trial to try to document and make vivid what's going on and leave no room when they vote down what they're voting for, too. It's sort of gathering accounts for 2022.
From what I hear, it's going to be documented with video, with actual, with pictures, with actual tape of what happened that day. Plus, everybody on the jury it was also a witness to what happened. So there's no question about what happened, and it will be a show trial. But let's not forget, with all due respect to my pals, these are Democrats we're talking about here. So my advice would be short declarative sentences and lots of video and present the case. Because the Republicans are going to obfuscate, they will try to change the topic, they would do all these wonderful things. And they'll talk about the constitutionality of this, and it doesn't matter what happened or why. This is just an unconstitutional trial. Therefore, we're not even going to worry about voting on it. So, anything could happen. The wild card is what will the great Orange master of Mar-a-Lago do? Will he come out of hiding? Will he see a shadow and promise 6 more weeks of Trumpism?
That is interesting, though. I mean, if they hadn't chopped him off Twitter, when you think if they just had chopped him off November 7th, the riot would have been prevented. There's no doubt. I don't think he could have built the fire and fury up for that. That Twitter didn't kind of make that call earlier and waited that long. Again, that's what we're up against. It's the big hand of the marketplace, the invisible hand of the marketplace. And things kind of go well past their shelf life. We're going to begin to wrap up here, Tony. But we should circle back to the beginning, which I think the topic A of the show is vaccine envy, and what folks can do listening. I would say my advice is don't trust official sources insofar as when vaccines are available. Keep hitting your websites of what your prospective healthcare provider and the county websites to see when and if vaccines are available, and if necessary, travel out of the county to get them if you're that concerned. On top of the usual double mask, do every single imaginable thing. We're on the home stretch here, and we should not let our guard down whatsoever while we wait to get that vaccine appointment or wait in line at the fairgrounds. I don't know if they're doing. I thought they were setting up at the county fairgrounds vaccination center.
Right. Fairgrounds, right now it's just for Watsonville, a couple of zip codes around, in and around the city of Watsonville, just because there were so many cases there. It's, I believe, 29% of the population of Santa Cruz County and 61% of all COVID cases are in Watsonville. So that's a hot spot that needs to be addressed. That's why the fairgrounds right now is just Watsonville. The old drive-in is for Sutter, and then Dominican Hospital is using Harbor High School as their center of operations, and more will be coming online. But getting through to any of these places to try to get an appointment is tough. I heard that the wait time on the phone on hold for Dominican was up to 6 hours. I was actually on hold for several hours and got disconnected twice.
Well, that's because they knew it was you. I mean, they had a special
caller ID gets you every time.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Rusomano, put him on the special and make sure the hold music. Let's see, we'll use Lou Reed's Metal Machine music. That'll get him. What was it we used to get Noriega out of that palace? Let's put that on for Rusomano.
Yeah. Hey, you caught me at a bad time. I'm in. Click. Wait. So yeah, just be persistent. Don't be frustrated. Don't give up because you're frustrated. You will be frustrated until you're not.
All right. Well, I think we should start our outro theme music and prepare for, as I said, Creative Bandwidth is coming up in a couple of minutes. Assuming we're not banished not only from the radio, but driven out from Santa Cruz. We'll see you next week. Catherine Bell, I want to thank Catherine for setting this whole thing up. And she's heading down to one more jolt, Catherine, real quick. You got 30 seconds to tell us about where people should be going.
County Courthouse at 12:30. We're gathering for the car caravan, or you can look for us along West Cliff Drive around 1.
Yeah, so if you're going to be stuck in a traffic jam, why don't you roll for a good cause, right? I think that's definitely what we should be doing here. And let's see, where are we now? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Tony and I will be back next Saturday at 11 o'clock. Until then, I think we all need to watch the skies. And Tony, wouldn't you agree? God help us in the future, because where are we going to spend the rest of our lives?
That's where it is, in the future. And the future is important.
This is KSQD Santa Cruz, and in just momentarily, it'll be time for Creative Bandwidth.
You're listening to KSQD Santa Cruz, 90.7 FM.